So I put the background on my painting and I decided to go with a little gray because he's got a little gray in his hair and a little burnt sienna and a little yellow ochre and just a tiny little bit of red because his shirt's red. And now I'm just adding a few highlights in his hair and the darker spots, just to add just a little bit. Use a smaller brush. The picture's kind of blurry, so I gotta kind of make up highlights a little bit. Just a little bit, just very subtle. Got a few hairs coming down on his head. It's a nice thing about after it's all dry, you can dry brush, settle things in, remove things with a paper towel or your finger. But you don't want to make, you want to keep it subtle. I think hair is probably the most difficult thing for me because hair is so chaotic, but it's fun because you really can't make mistakes. But like when I do pictures of dogs and things, I just get kind of bored with the chaos of the hair. But when I finish it, I'm like, wow, that was actually kind of fun to do that. Because there's not very much pressure in here. You get the eyes wrong, it's messed up. You get the cheeks wrong, it's messed up. But you get the hair a little bit off, it still looks like the person. Let me try to keep the brush kind of dry. like I said, this photo is kind of blurry, so I'm kind of making out the individual hairs just to kind of give it a little depth. But I think the background kind of goes with the whole look of the thing. The background on this, it looks like he's standing in front of a house or something like that. And sometimes with the background, I put the actual background from the picture in because it's interesting. But this I just kind of made up the background. But okay, maybe just a little subtle in the shirt. Dry brush is kind of fun because you can just work it into the canvas. You don't have to have a whole lot of paint on your brush. Just get it to the I know a lot of artists have rules about light sources and things like that. Like this light source looks like it's coming right in front of him. He's darker on the side of it. And but sometimes the picture doesn't, sometimes you just gotta wing it. You just gotta make it look like what you think it should look like. Don't follow so many rules. Just do it. Do it what you want. There's no rules to painting. That's what's fun about it. If you like it, that's all that matters. I always wanted to be an illustrator when I was growing up. I always liked movie posters and things, and people tell me that my paintings look like advertisements. And they probably do, because most interesting paintings I liked were advertisements. I mix my colors from advertisements. I find advertisements that I like in magazines. I cut them out, hang them up, just for a guide. It's always fun. Oh, I signed it too. I do that with my quill, the sign painter's quill. There's a lot of people that sign their name, and they're not sign painters, so they don't do it as controlled as I do. But I always like Norman Rockwell's signature. He used to just do a nice bold Norman Rockwell, and I always put the date because I always see a painting I did 10 years ago. I like to know what date I did it, And I think Norman Rockwell, I think over the years he had a stamp made. And I think he stamped his paintings. Not sure of that, but I noticed that his signature is real fragile in his earlier work, and his later work was real bold and perfect. And I kind of wonder if he had a stamp made and he just dipped it in the paint and stamped it. Be interesting to find that out. But he's got his necklace on. I kind of wanted that to stand out a little bit. It looks like he's a Christian. He's got a cross around his neck. So we want to make sure that's showing. Good, tough, old, God-fearing dude. My kind of dude. All right. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my lightest color. Just kind of dry brush a little bit of highlight so it's not so blah. Again, I'm just dry brushing because painting's dry. It's a lot easier to dry brush. And if you screw up a little, you can just wipe it off. Looks like the sun hit him right on the nose. Open a little bit. You emphasize it too much. It looks good when you're close, but if you hold the painting away from you, it looks too detailed sometimes, which I have a habit of doing. Too much detail. I don't mean to, I just get into it. I always wanted to learn how to get more loose with my painting, but I just find I don't enjoy it as much if I'm too loose. I like detail. And I see other paintings and they're real loose. And I'm in awe of them. Look at mine and I go, oh, why can't I be like that? But it's not my style, so that's good, I guess. Be myself. A few highlights on his lip a little bit. It's under his nose. Like I said, I don't want to overdo it. I'm sure if I look at this painting 10 years from now, I'll see all the flaws and everything I did wrong. But I'm sure everybody's like that. And I think I'll stop right there. And my tape's falling off my phone, so yeah, I think I'll stop it right there, and I'm gonna paint the edges. That's one thing I like to do. I like to paint the edges, and I spend about an hour painting the edges. I use just about every color used in the painting on the edges, and then if somebody just wants to hang it up on the wall, well, they don't have to frame it, you know, because the frame the size is expensive. Maybe you just want to hang the picture on the wall. So that's what I'm going to do now. See you later.